What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. So I told you I was gonna come back with some more content for this weekend. So really, this pod is about um, really a sum up of what is going on in the last week, and I really want to bring everything home with Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake, and the downfall of YCMB. Or Young Money Cash Money Records. At one time, and I would say this was 2010, 2011, 2012. I'd say all the way out to 2015. They were the dominant machine and the dominant label in this industry. They were a machine, hit after hit after hit, album after album, radio record. They dominated the radio. You know, Drake was at his peak. Wayne was still good. I mean, I wouldn't say that was at his peak. He had some of his biggest records at that time, like 6'7", and Nicki was in her prime. But this whole week kind of was a microcosm of really what they had become, because Wayne has put out by far his worst album in the Carter Six. By all estimations, it was a total flop. It debuted with its lowest selling total first week sales of, I believe, 109,000 records, which is very low for him, the status of superstar he is. Nicki Minaj put out a freestyle record that was added on as a bonus cut to Wayne's verse for Band from New Orleans, which was a total joke. Wasn't bad bars, but it was just a joke that now she comes out with that. I'm going to talk about that in detail in a minute. And then Drake with Kendrick Lamar doing 2 sold-out shows in Toronto, and the fans there begging them to perform Not Like Us, the song he has in a lawsuit for defamation, begging them to perform it in an encore, where they absolutely loved Kendrick's performances. I mean, Kendrick was treated like a king in Toronto when it was forecast by a lot of so-called streamers, academics, Maul from Rory and Maul show, that Kendrick would get booed out there. Well, this had to be the lowest point for YCMB really this week. And just to sum it up, and I'll get to the Band from New Orleans song, but that Nicki did like a quick freestyle, and she added this on to Wayne's Carter 6 as a bonus cut this week. She used a very dated cadence, dated flows. Some of the bars were okay, but again, dated. You know what I mean? This is a style that she used, 3-4 years ago, and maybe more than that, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. Me personally, I think the Band from New Orleans bonus cut was more of a shot at Ice Spice, but she did take a shot at Jay-Z, and she said, "Fire the ends that's running the Super Bowl and hire us." But see, I want to just take that line right there. Why would they fire Jay-Z, who put out probably the biggest and most notable Super Bowl performances ever? Kendrick Lamar just broke a Super Bowl record for halftime viewership, and then hire you. Like, really, what have y'all done, outside of in the last 10 years, outside of satisfying your stand bases? What has YCMB done for, the hip hop culture? Drake has put out redundant music with playlist style albums that may have some hit singles here and there, but like I can't tell you, I can't even tell you the biggest single off of All for the Dogs, which was his last number one record, his that last number one album. I mean, Nicki had her moment with like Barbie Girl and all of that off of the Barbie soundtrack, and she still can make hits, but she's mostly relegated to that Barb fan base that she's created over time, you know. But she's just a crash out queen now on social media. I mean, all of that, and really, what would a Super Bowl? What would you bring to a Super Bowl performance? You know what I mean? Like people be like, "Oh, Nicki Minaj, all right, she's okay," but her over Kendrick at off of what he's done for hip hop and hip hop culture over the last year, with the hit success of GNX. I mean, and this now has made SZA. SZA was a star before. After this tour, SZA is a global superstar. You know, I really say SZA and Kendrick should do a joint album. You know, I wouldn't, and a couple of my podcast buddies like Reese Funeral Man, shout out Torture Chamber, mentioned that. I think that would be a great idea. You know what I mean? But back to YCMB, what have they done in the last 10 years? The last Wayne, like I would say, certified banger on the radio that really would ring off in the clubs wasn't even his single, was Chris Brown's These Girls Ain't Loyal, you know, with him and Chris Brown. I think him, Chris Brown, Ty Dolla $ign on that record. But yeah, these 304s ain't loyal. You know what I mean? Don't want to disrespect women or anything, you know? And that was like 2014, 2015. I mean, since then, Wayne has had some bars here and there and some great feature verses, which makes this album even more more a joke, you know, for lack of a better word. But what are they now? You know what I mean? What are you, Wayne? You know what I mean? You can't even make a certified hit on your own. I mean, on this album, you had to borrow Big X the Plug to kind of carry your record, who out-rapped you on a hook. Nobody's going to have any quotables from that hip-hop record. You know what I mean? And Drake, man, I don't know what you're going to do, but Iceman better be the greatest record of all time or close to it. I suggest Drake is the only one that can really save himself, believe it or not, and come back to respectability. Because Wayne just comes off to me a shot. He's using the same flows, same rhyme schemes, and he is not matured as an MC. See, and this is where you can take a lesson from Nas. This is why Nas is a true GOAT, not just a GOAT with one great run. Nas, after the Kanye album, which was his most criticized album of his career, basically called Nas out for being the same thing Wayne is now, uninspired. Nas went back and he said, you know what? I need a new sound. I need a new direction. He got up with Hit Boy. Hit Boy created new rhyme schemes for him, new flows, a new up-tempo energy behind the beats, which still fit Nas's style because they still fit that 90s, that 90s kind of traditional hip-hop style that Nas has to create his stories, and it fit like a glove. Nas won a Grammy. Nas got three highly critically acclaimed albums, which are going to grow with time, and eventually people have called classic and will be classic. Nas had a second act. Wayne, where's your second act? you still rap about the same shit you rapped about in 2007, and your fan base has grown. Your fan base is now in their 40s now, in their 30s. And they're like, all right, been there, done that, but you're coming off like a one-trick pony, bro. And really, the Super Bowl snub that or perceived Super Bowl snub was supposed to be your wake-up call. And this is what you come with. I think Wayne is done. I think he's nothing more than a featured artist right now, a feature verse artist, because he's good for one good verse. Because he can't make an album anymore. The only saving grace with Wayne is where if he were to go with like a Hit Boy or a Metro Boomin or somebody to recreate a sound where he has reinvigorated flows, a reinvigorated energy to create a quality album that's worthy of GOAT status. Because this isn't worthy of GOAT status. And it's like, Nicki, just keep hating, man. Like, you're nothing but a gossip queen now anyway. I mean, yeah, they should fire Jay-Z and bring y'all in there. Why? So you could put out a bunch of redundant songs that were played out how many years ago? 10 years ago? I mean, where's y'all banger right now? Where's the song that's going to make y'all want us to listen to YCMB again like we did in the glory days? So that's it, y'all. YCMB, what do y'all think? Can they ever make a comeback? Out of Drake, Nicki, and Lil Wayne, who can make a comeback to what they were 10 years ago or 15 years ago? What can they do? You know what I mean? You tell me. I think Drake still has a little bit of a chance, believe it or not. But we'll see, and time will tell. So with that, enjoy the rest of y'all weekend, and I'll be back with some more content later on this week. All right? Peace.